Getting started. So what up, everybody? This is Black Star here, talking about 5 tips to get started with Virtua Fighter 5 Ultimate Showdown, a new game coming out. It's crazy. Who would have thought we got a new Virtua Fighter? We've been waiting for a decade, us VF players, long-suffering VF players, but here it finally is, and it's coming out what, Tuesday? It's crazy. We don't know if it's gonna be a rebalance or what. I'm pretty sure it is, but either way, I'm excited. And not only am I excited and the VF community excited, but also people in the FGC and outside of FGC too. There's a lot of people that are interested in the series now, and a lot of new people that could potentially come in. So I'm here to help ease the transition with getting into the game. That's what I'm here for. That's what I'm making this video for. And to be honest, I've been looking on the internet on the Twitterverse lately, and there's a lot of misinformation going out there because there's a lot of people making videos who don't play Virtua Fighter. So what I am is a Virtua Fighter player, more or less a veteran pretty much. I guess I would be an OG. I've been playing so long. So just a little quick self introduction. My name is Black Star Gamer Tag. Been playing since what, 1997, when I first got my Virtua Fighter 2 copy on Sega Saturn, to those that remember that system. I've been playing competitively since around 2007-ish with Vanilla VF5 on Xbox 360. Played in a bunch of offline tournaments over the years, past decade or something like that. My most notable accomplishments are like what, top 16 at Sega Cup, so I got a nice crispy check from Sega. That was great. And then I guess the last big thing I did was I came in second place in the last CEO tournament. Lost to GT Gentleman Thief, but he's Gentleman Thief. What can you do? So I've been playing offline tournaments, regionals, locals, online tournaments, of course. Ran my own events. So offline events include Virtua Fighter 5 at final rounds. I did that about 3 years. Also did events like what? Sunday Night Raw. So the VF community knows very well what Sunday Night Raw is. A showcase for players, VF players, for the public to see. You know, just to see the game showcase at a high level. So hopefully maybe that'll be back. We'll see how that goes. Also, notwithstanding, I've been teaching a lot of players for about past 5 years or so. So I got a lot of new players to learn the game, and that's where it's critical, because there's this stigma about Virtua Fighter being difficult, and it's really annoying because it's not difficult. It actually is difficult if you don't know the rules. That's the thing I had to learn the hard way. But if you know the rules, the game is actually very easy, very straightforward. It makes a lot of sense. So I'll get on that later into future videos and things like that, because again, I'm putting this on YouTube to distribute out to the masses for new people to get into. But yeah, this is about 5 tips, 5 quick, easy tips to get people into the game. And let me go ahead and get started right now. The first tip is 1. Just have fun. Just have fun. Why do I say something so simple and straightforward as just have fun? That's just common sense, right? Well, that goes back into that whole myth of Virtua Fighter being difficult to the minds of people. That's the stigma that's on the game. So what that means is, like, so if people are coming from Tekken, they come from Street Fighter, they come from all kinds of different games, DOA, I don't know, like anime game, something like that, all interested in playing Virtua Fighter, but they're like, oh, this game is hard, I heard it was difficult, maybe I have to study like all this frame data and stuff like that, maybe I have to memorize their whole move list. I'm like, no, you don't have to do any of that. If anything, Virtua Fighter, the series as a whole, is very easy to get into. It's literally one of the easiest games to get into. You have your 3 buttons, and the game is tailor-made for mashing. It's a high-speed, rush-down heavy game that's about pressing buttons. So you can go in there, you can press buttons, do things. Yes, you'll probably lose a lot, but you'll actually win a lot against similar skilled players. So, and on top of that, the game is like pretty easy to follow and read. It's not like a lot of 2D games or other games where it's like a lot of flash or tag mechanics and just things happen on the screen. It's just very straightforward with how the games look. It's easy to see. You might not be able to respond to everything right now, like not with the correct response. That comes with learning the game and with experience, most of all. But long story short, just jump in, have fun, just play the game. Don't worry about all the other technical stuff. You literally don't need to know anything to just go in, press buttons, and have fun. So that's tip number 1. All right, so tip number 2 is character choice. I've seen a lot of people online talking about character choice. Who do I pick? Who do I play? Who should I start the game with? The first choice I would say people should start to play with is whoever you want. Pick whoever you want. Play whoever you want. So the way this game is built, as the entire series is, it's very different from games like, let's say like, for example, for Tekken or Street Fighter. Virtua Fighter or Tekken or Street Fighter are what I call, in my mind, matchup heavy games. They're but in Virtua Fighter, in contrast, to me, is a system heavy game. So what do I mean by that? I'll probably go much more into detail in a different video, but this is what I mean in a nutshell. So in a matchup heavy game like Street Fighter or Tekken, you have all these different characters, and these characters are all very different from each other. They have very different tools. So not everybody has Electric Wind God Fist. Not everybody has a Fireball or a Dragon Punch. And because those tools are so unique and so important, that changes the whole way you play that character. That how you play that character is very unique. How you play Eddie Gordo is very different from how you play Heihachi. How you play Ryu is very different from how you play Zangief, for example. But in Virtua Fighter, it's very different. It's actually, if you really think about it, every character is pretty much the same character. So, what do I mean? How do I say? Again, in matchup heavy games, characters are reliant on their character specific tools. So like the Mishimas are reliant on Mishima tools like Hell Sweep and Electric Wind God Fist and stuff like that, right? Their whole gameplay is based around that. In a system based game, a game with strong system tools like Virtua Fighter, characters are more based, or they're based less on character specific tools and more on basic specific tools that everybody has. So everybody has the same punch, everybody has the same 2P, nearly everybody has the same elbow, throw works the same way, launcher, counter hit launcher, everybody has those same specific tools. And so everybody is basically a carbon copy of each other. And what separates each character from each other is like little specific things. So Jackie may have longer strings than Akira. So that part of his game is more focused. But 90% of the time in a match, you're going to use basic stuff like elbow, punch, throw, 2P, stuff like that. Those are the moves you're going to use literally 90% of the time. You're not going to use like Iagari kick for Jackie. That's not going to be the main tool you're focused on. It's going to be like elbow and setting up frame traps and stuff like that. So that was a whole long diatribe, but what that basically means is that that's why it really doesn't matter who you pick, because characters aren't reliant on their character specific tools as much as people believe. It's all about the basic tools, the fundamentals. So that being said, it really doesn't matter who you pick whoever you want. That being said, if you're still worried and you just like one of those characters that or one of those people that are like, I want to learn the game, let me pick the Ryu of the game. So if you're still like, or if you have that viewpoint, my recommendation would be Jackie. Basically, he is the most basic, most vanilla VF-ish character that there is in the whole cast. He's like, his whole gameplay revolves around basic tools. He is a basic character. If you want a beginner character, he's the way to go. Another good choice would be Shun. Another good choice would be Pi. And there's like other characters that are a little bit more they have a little bit more character specific stuff, but are still pretty simple. So characters like Go, Eileen, and I forgot Jeffrey's pretty simple too. So he'd be one of those characters that are very easy to pick up. So go with that. All right, that lasted a little longer than I wanted to, but again, tip number 2, pick whoever you want. Doesn't matter. All right, so tip number 3 This is important. When you get into the game, well, I should just state the title of it, right? Tip number 3 is learn the system, not your character. So this goes back to my previous point, pretty much. What's most important about learning Virtua Fighter is not your character. It's about learning the fundamentals of the game, learning the system. So what do I mean by that? It's 2 basic things for a beginner. It's two main things when it comes to learning the system. One is learning the VF triangle, the Virtua Fighter triangle. The second is learning your basic universal moves. So again, focus on learning the system, not your character. So 1, what's the VF triangle? The Virtua Fighter triangle is the rock, scissors, paper of the game. Literally everything in the game is based off, every interaction in the game is based off of this concept, the Virtua Fighter triangle, the VF triangle. So in a nutshell, it's rock, paper, scissors. It's attack, throw, and block. Attack beats throw, throw beats block, block beats attack. That's the long story short. I might go into a deeper video explaining the concepts and how they interact with each other, but just if nothing else, if you remember nothing else from this video about learning the game, learn that, the Virtua Fighter triangle. That's literally what the whole base game is based off of. So attack beats throw, throw beats block, block beats attack. So a small example is attack versus throw. If you look at Street Fighter, let's say you have a character, 2 players playing, and one does throw and one does attack, and it all connects at the same time. In Street Fighter, the throw is always going to win. In Virtua Fighter, again, going off of the VF triangle, attack beats throw, throw beats block, block beats attack beats throw. So if somebody attacks and somebody throws and they clash at the same time, no matter when the throw is executed, the attack will always win. I don't care how early the throw was made or how late the attack was. It could be the last frame. The attack will always win. So what does that mean? Because of these hard-coded rules, the game is very predictable. So in other words, you're not going to get hit by a whole lot of BS garbage. Is very, if you get hit, you know why, you know exactly why you got hit. So even if somebody hits you with some nasty tech, you can look at the video of what happens and you can see like, oh, you know, he did a throw right here, so that's why this hit connected or whatever, right? So the whole game is based off of that. So, and that's so important to learn that interaction, the VF triangle. So attack beats throw, throw beats block, block beats attack. The second important thing about this point number 3, learn the system, not your character, is the basic universal moves. Again, so learning your character is not about learning your character. It's about learning the game, and then learning character is secondary. So I used to see a lot of people come into the VFDC forums be like, oh, you know, I'm learning Vanessa. What's the top 10 moves for Vanessa? What's the top 10 moves? And or in the Sarah forum, I would see the same thing. What's the top 10 moves for Sarah? And I'm like, it's the same moves that everybody else has. Your top 10 moves for Sarah are punch, throw, elbow, 2P, launcher, counter hit launcher. You see what I'm saying? Like, the flamingo stances, all the special stuff is secondary. Characters are not based off of their character specific tools. They're like dressing around the fundamental tools. 90%, if you look at a high level match, any high level match, 90% of the moves that people use are like basic stuff. Punch, elbow, throw, launcher, counter hit launcher, you know, just stuff like that. It's not like these super crazy Jackie strings or something like that. Like all that is basically like maybe like 5%. So long story short, what that means is that on a basic level, getting to an intermediate level, a competent level, a level to where you can actually enter a tournament and do okay, it's very easy. All you have to learn is the VF triangle, attack beats throw, throw beats block, block beats attack, and basic moves and how they work and what their functions are. Punch, 2P, elbow, throw, launcher, counter hit launcher, and then maybe some basic combos. That's it. That's all you need to learn the game. All right, so don't get caught up on learning a bunch of, you know, the whole move list for your character. You don't have to learn that stuff because you won't be using that stuff 80% of the time anyway. So, all right, so that's tip number 3. Tip number 4 is VF is not insert game that you came from. So VF is not Tekken, VF is not Street Fighter, VF is not Guilty Gear, VF is not whatever game. Why do I say that? Because I've seen so many people over the years come in and learn Virtua Fighter, or attempt to learn Virtua Fighter, get started all excited, and then they get frustrated after a few days, weeks, or whatever, and then maybe even quit. Why? Because say they come from Tekken or they come from Soul Calibur and they're learning Virtua Fighter and they're like focusing on playing neutral game, counter with punishing, you know, even punishment, things like that, right? So, and they'll spend a whole lot of time in training room, like doing stuff like with punishing Jackie's K or something like that, you know. So, but VF is not insert game. It's not Street Fighter. It's not Tekken. This is that. We don't focus on that. VF is his own game. It's very different from everything else. It's pretty much opposite. So, for example, Tekken is very spacing heavy, very defensive. Virtua Fighter is all about RTSD, rushing down, pressing buttons, putting somebody in a frame trap, forcing them to guess, doing a bunch of mix-ups. That's what VF is. So if you come in trying to train, I don't know, Pi, like you trying to train your Nina, you're gonna get messed up and you're gonna get frustrated. So long story short, it's like you're learning Virtua Fighter, you have to start with a clean slate. You got to start like this is your first fighting game ever that you ever played. All the concepts are very different. So, and if you don't understand things or things don't work quite the way you think they should, just watch matches, ask veteran players, go to virtuafighter.com, check me out on Twitter or something like that, hit me up, ask a vet, and then look at matches with vets. So especially Japanese players, because they've been playing forever and they play all the time. They know all the ins and outs. So if you want to see how the game is played, watch good matches, ask a veteran player. And then please do not treat your game or Virtua Fighter like the game that you came from. You will be frustrated, you get mad, and you'll want to quit. So please don't do that. All right, and the fifth and last tip is basically about how VF plays overall. And I kind of just went over it again. Like, so if you come from like DOA, if you come from Tekken, if you come from Street Fighter, you're used to very slow-paced games where you're kind of waiting for each other to make a move. So, you know, it's all neutral heavy, waiting for somebody to make a mistake. No. In Virtua Fighter is the exact opposite. It's about rushing down. It's about imposing your will on somebody else, putting somebody in a frame trap, forcing them to guess, and, you know, just taking offensive all the time. It's a very fast-paced game, which is traditionally what Sega games are like, which is why it's awesome. So check it out. And again, it's a very system-based game. It's not a matchup-based game or character-based game. It's like, yes, you need to know matchups. Yes, you need to know your character stuff, but it's not the focus compared to other games. It's not like where, you know, you have a matchup and one character has a bad matchup against another character and it's just an instant loss. Why are you even playing this game? No, it's all about player versus player mentality. So your character will not carry you. It's all about your skill, your personal skill. And why is it that way? Is because it's a very system heavy game. What do I mean by system? To me, a system tool is just stuff that everybody has. Everybody has the same punch. Everybody has the same 2P, or mostly everybody has the same punch. Mostly everybody has the same elbow. Everybody has the same 2P. Throws work pretty much the same for everybody. They all share the same tools. And you play those games through those same tools, and you'll use character specific stuff. So the game's based around that. So what that also means is, because it's a system based game, no matter how bad the matchup actually is, because there are some bad matchups sometimes. So ask Shun players about fighting Taka in Final Showdown. So, but even with the worst matchups, you still have a chance to win if you use your level of skill. So, because this game allows that by focusing on the basic tools game rather than your character specific tools that overpower everybody like in other games, how it works in other games. But yep, I guess that pretty much covers it. I didn't want, actually this video is longer than I wanted to already, but yep, those are pretty much tips. I'm probably gonna cut the video off right here. I might answer some questions later, but as far as the YouTube video, this is the end. Check it out. Hopefully I have a better produced like video for the next few videos, but I had to get started doing something. So I'm going to take some questions. I'm going to end the video right now for YouTube. Check it out. I got some new videos coming up. Check me out on YouTube and on my Twitch, and see you later. All right.